Hello, Knights fans, and welcome inside head coach of the FDU baseball team, Gary Puccio's office here for the first edition of the 2014 season's Knights Baseball Roundup. And I like that title, Coach. How you doing today?
Doing well there, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
You're now the third host in 3 years, so I wonder if they're telling me something.
There's a lot of turnover, but I'm here for another year after this, so...
Oh, good.
Chances are, unless I do a horrible job,
okay,
I'll be back doing this again next year.
Because if I do a horrible job, you'll be back maybe with someone else. Go ahead.
That's true. Okay. Let's talk quickly about coming up this weekend is the first pitch dinner, the annual dinner for the baseball team, and that is this Sunday, February 16th, 5 p.m. it starts. Just give us some. I'll open the floor to you to talk about first pitch dinner and what that means and how you can get tickets if you'd like to go.
Yeah, it's kind of been our trademark opener for the past, since I've been here. This will be the fourth annual. It's named after John Bittman, who's a Hall of Fame left-handed pitcher. And we call it the first pitch dinner because at the end of the night we present the first pitch ball to the person who will throw the first pitch of the season, which is kind of, none of the kids know who's getting it. And it's kind of a little intriguing and adds a little nice touch to the dinner every year. We've been lucky enough to have, last year I think we had about 181 people there. And was expecting somewhere between 150 and 175 this year. So it's always been a real big event. We honor the 1960s All-Decade team this year. Every year we've honored an All-Decade team, and this year's the 60s. Mm-hmm. And hard to believe those guys played 50 years ago. And we have something like, I think 10 of the 14 still alive Hall of Famers coming, All-Decade teams coming to the dinner, which is incredible, I think.
That's incredible. And that's at the Park Ridge Marriott, as all of our FDU events are held there. Wonderful place. And how do you get tickets if you still want to go just a week?
Yeah, with a week to go, the best thing to do is call my office at 201-692-2245.
We'll put that on the bottom of the screen.
Right, and just ask, say that you want to come, and you can bring a check that night. I just need to know ahead of time because we do have a seating chart and everything else, and as we said, there's a lot of people at it, so thank God.
All right, so let's talk about, you just went through another long off season. Being in baseball, you know how those off seasons can be. Just tell us, me, the Knights fans watching, what you do in the off season, what you expect the team to do in the off season, and talk about some recruiting. Talk about your recruits for this 2014 season.
Yeah, one of the problems, obviously, Northeast baseball, you can tell it's baseball season, and there's 8 inches of snow, and it's 12 degrees out, so yeah, it must be baseball season in the Northeast. It's incredible. So we have to practice 10 o'clock at night just to, we obviously don't have an indoor facility here that we can practice in for the most part, so we end up going to batting cages and different sporting places in the area. So because of that, my guys have to go at 10 to midnight almost daily for the most part. So that takes a big commitment, and it takes kids that really are into it. And one of the things I see this year is the chemistry seems to be real good. It really seems to be more like 2012 when we went to the playoffs. And we did bring in 4 new players this year. One of them is Mccann, who will be our starting shortstop as a freshman. Coach Kresge's been working with him a lot, and the kid has incredible hands. He's smooth out there, and I expect big things out of him. I think he's going to be a heck of a baseball player. We also brought in Joe Flack, who's a pitcher from Staten Island, and he's going to see a lot of time. We expect him to play a lot. And Zach Tondi, a catcher who has a gun behind the plate, has been outstanding. And then we also brought in a junior college graduate from Odessa, Texas, named John Chalupa, who's a right-hand pitcher, throws about 90 also. So we definitely feel like we've increased the pitching staff to the point that we have some depth. We still don't have great depth in position plays yet because we have 22 players, and we're working on that for next year. But there's a lot of good feelings. Spring always brings hope, and I have good feelings about how hard they play and the chemistry they've shown and how hard they've worked in the off season so far. So there's a reason to be optimistic.
Has Chalupa, is he always been in Texas and in the South?
No, he's actually from Monroe, Woodbury, New York.
Okay, so he knows the Northeast.
Oh yeah, went to high
Winters
school.
and
Right,
springs.
Right. It sounded like we brought a kid in from California a couple of years ago, and it was
Right.
like a culture shock. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know. We're still getting like
Right.
8 to 10 inches out there right now, and
really?
the March games, they're freezing. You still come out to the Nine Moly complex and it's freezing. I'm calling the game right behind
there you go.
the dugout, and it's freezing. But okay,
It's not as cold if you're winning though. I don't know why, but it's never as cold if you're
you get
winning.
that warm feeling.
Right. When you're down 10-0, you can't. It's like get this over.
Speaking of the 2012 playoff run, named Division I Coach of the Year, and that success.
New Jersey Division I Coach of the Year. Let's
Right.
not.
Sorry,
Well, I'm just saying. Let's not.
I couldn't think of the
Wasn't
the
national
organization
or
that,
something.
that
Right,
named
okay.
you.
Whatever. Okay.
Sorry, New Jersey Coach of the Year Division.
That was like 2 lifetimes ago now. Go ahead.
What are some keys for you to get back to that 2012 success? Obviously, you have no seniors on the team, but you have a lot of juniors. You have experienced guys that are starting to come. You said the chemistry is getting a lot better.
Right.
And some of these guys, they weren't here for 2012. A lot of them weren't here for 2012. So give me some keys that you want to accomplish to get there.
Well, I think that's where the juniors have to show the leadership, because as freshmen they did get there. And I think that's a big plus, is even though we're a young team, we're not an inexperienced team to that degree. Even as sophomores, though they didn't make the playoffs, they got a lot of playing time last year as freshmen. So the opportunity to be successful should be there. And I think it comes down to execution, and some of the things I talked to the team about that we didn't do as well last year is we had half the number of sacrifice bunts last year, like a third of the number of sacrifice flies. Those are team things, and we try to emphasize in our locker room. We have a slogan up there about team baseball, and I think team baseball is the key to winning, and that means man on second, nobody out, you move that runner to third, and man on third, less than 2 out, you hit that fly ball that brings them home. And we seem to get away from that last year. And part of that, in fairness, was the freshmen as sophomores, it came easy to them freshman year, and I think they didn't necessarily put in the dedication or the time as sophomores because it had come so easy, and they just expected it to happen again. And I think that was a rude awakening for them. And hopefully, I got to take most of the blame on that, because it was my job to make sure that they stayed focused, and I just felt we really weren't last year a lot. And this year I definitely see a difference in that, and hopefully that will carry on throughout the season.
Now, what goals do you have for this season for yourself personally, and what goals do you have and aspirations do you have for your team this season?
Well, I always say you can't say you're going to make the playoffs. What you have to say is you want to be a playoff contender. Because, a break here or a game there, and all of a sudden you're not there. Mm-hmm. So my goal is that FDU baseball is a playoff contender every year. And that's kind of where I want it to be. I felt we would have been last year if we didn't have all the injuries we had that just kind of decimated our program. So hopefully with some of those kids healthy again, it'll be different, and we can compete. And that's the name of the game, is to compete. If you compete, you're going to win your share of games. So the trick is to compete.
And let's end the first night's baseball roundup with a question about your 2 captains. One has already been a captain since his sophomore year. That's Eric Snyder, who is actually tied for the FDU all-time record in saves. His next save will break the record, and he's still got 2 more seasons, hopefully, here at FDU. And Shane Siebler, who missed time with injury last year. But talk about, we will also have an interview with those guys, with Corbin Gapsky, after the break, but talk about your junior captains this season.
Yeah, Eric's been a leader for me since the day he got here, really. And as a freshman, he set a NEC record for saves, saving 12 games that year. He led the conference. He was New Jersey Fireman of the Year and everything else. So he's been a main player for us since day one. And a lot of people talk to me about making him a starting pitcher and stuff like that, but I've handed Eric the ball 19 times in 2 years with the lead. 16 times he saved the game. 2 of the games that he blew to save, he got the win. And 1 game we lost. So when you have a record of 19 times having the lead and 18 times you walked away with the win, I don't see any reason to change that. So I'm going to kind of keep him in place. The pitchers all respect him. Like you said, his next save, he'll become the all-time save leader, and he's just barely starting his junior year. So that says an awful lot. Had we not had as bad a year as we had last year, he probably would have this record already. Shane Siebler, I say this to people all the time, and Shane's probably tired of hearing it. Shane Siebler's the best right fielder I've ever coached in my life defensively in the past 34 years of doing this. He is just incredible, and not to take away from anyone that played out there last year, but having Shane back in the outfield is worth a few wins on itself, because he will make at least one incredible play every week. It's just unreal. And like I said, the other guys did an adequate job filling in for him, but honestly, he's as good as I've ever seen out there. And it's just, he's a leader by example. He's just a steady kid. He gives you 100% all the time, and I know I have the right two leaders, that's for sure.
And is he getting healthier as the season approaches?
He seems to be almost 100%. He seems to be, raring to go. I mean, obviously we're inside, so until you get him outside and see him on the field actually run hard for a ball and stuff. But everything points to him being 100% healthy. And before you close, let me just mention Brendan Butler, because Brendan's obviously going to anchor our staff this year. He really started to blossom towards the end of last year, and it's another reason why I have reason to believe we can be decent this year. That he's got, I think something like 12 or 14 pro teams have contacted me about him. He's got a real big future ahead of himself, and as I said, he started to blossom towards the end of last year. Saw him in the summer, he was outstanding, and this past fall, with a couple of scrimmages we did play, he was like men against boys. He's really, really coming around, and hopefully he wins a few games for us this year, and that'll help the record get better.
All right, thank you, Coach. This is the first edition of the Knights Baseball Roundup this season. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm Ryan Uhlich, doing the first edition, and we'll be trading off with John Lauder as well this season. But we're all excited. I know the Knights fans watching are very excited to get this season underway. That starts not this Friday, the following Friday. You travel to Davidson. Davidson
in North Carolina, and we're also going to be playing Lehigh down there that first weekend.
Okay, cool. The tournament?
Kind of a round robin sort of thing.
Cool. Okay. Well, you'll get that, and you can follow FDUKnights.com for all your up-to-date information about the baseball team. Twitter at FDUKnights, and obviously every week we'll have another Knights baseball roundup with head coach Gary Puccio. So I'm Ryan Uhlich. Thank you for watching this section, and we're going to have our own Corbin Gabsky interviewing the junior captains Siebler and Snyder after the jump. So thank you for watching, and check back next week.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm here with the Knights juniors captains, Shane Siebler, the starting right fielder, and Eric Snyder, the team's closer. Guys, I have a couple questions for you. Shane, first of all, I want to ask, this is your junior year now, first year being a captain. So what kind of expectations do you have this year, and have they stayed consistent since your freshman year, or are they starting to change as you get older and more mature?
I feel like every time you come into the season, the main goal is to make playoffs, because anything can happen once you get there. So I feel like that one stayed consistent, but other than that, just improving every day on a daily basis, things like that nature.
Thank you. And Eric, what's different from this year's team than last year's team, where you guys came up short, and what do you think you guys need to do to get back into the playoffs?
I think you said it with the last question to Shane, is the maturity level of our team going through such hardships last year kind of really made us hungry to come out this year and not really fool around and come out with intensity and ready to win right off the bat, and hopefully take us all the way to Dodd, Destination Dodd, Coach Puccio has been saying. So we're going to make it to playoffs this year, and that's our overall goal right now.
And Shane, you have a tough schedule this year. You guys are traveling to St. John's. You're going back to Army, which you guys did freshman year. You're also going down to Davidson. So let me know, what kind of games are you looking forward to the most this season?
I'm actually looking forward to playing Lehigh, mostly because I know a lot of my buddies are on those teams. And Lafayette, we play them in Easton, Pennsylvania, which is pretty close to my home. And I should expect lots of my family and friends to come see me. So I'm looking forward to that.
Great. And Eric, I got to ask about the off-season. Now you guys been in the off-season for weeks now. You've been in the weight room with Kyle, and you've been in some indoor facilities. So who's been like the MVP of the off-season before the season even starts? Who's impressing you?
Believe it or not, one of the most impressive guys thus far has been one of our freshmen. Matt Mccann is his name, and he's on the field. He works 100%, hustles all day, doesn't really stop hustling, and over the offseason he came back a lot bigger, a lot stronger, and I expect very good things from him, being a shortstop, leadoff hitter, quick guy, and I think he's been the most impressive MVP for me in the offseason.
Now you mentioned that freshman, and I got to know, how are the upperclassmen and the freshmen meshing so far?
I think team chemistry this year is very well established. They came into our program knowing that we are a very tight-knit group of men and we are a family, and they seem to be blending in. A lot of the guys are with us all day, every day, and they're understanding our mentality of on-the-field antics and off-the-field antics.
Now you guys have 9 juniors on the team. Pat McClure is a redshirt sophomore, so you can include him as well. But you don't have any seniors.
Nope.
So who do you guys expect to step up other than yourselves to help out the Knights this season?
I really expect Pat to come back and make a big impact on the team because, last year he had to miss the whole season due to his surgery. I'm really expecting him to get back there behind the plate, call some good games like he can, and just really contribute from day one for us.
We're looking forward to having Pat back on the field. And my last question for you guys is, what kind of advice would you give a high school or Little League watching at home? He's aspiring to be in college baseball, Division I, II, or III. What kind of advice could you give young baseball players watching at home?
I think the number one key to baseball besides hard work is keeping it fun and enjoying yourself while on the field. So at all costs, at all nature of the game, make sure you're having a good time, and in good times comes success. So work hard, listen to your coaches, and most importantly, have fun doing so.
Absolutely. Make sure to bring a comb to college as well. Yeah. Shane, anything different or you like to add?
No, I like what Eric said about having fun. That's huge. But you got to be really committed when it comes to playing baseball at the college level. You got to know what you have to do to come to schoolwork to stay eligible for playing, and then you got to put in the work on the field and everything, make sure you're ready to go once the season comes along.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for chatting with Corbin today. Make sure fans every week to catch up with Corbin, and then as well the Baseball Report with Ryan Uhlich and Coach Gary Puccio. But again, I am with junior and junior captains Eric Snyder and Shane Siebler. I'm Corbin Gapsky from FDKnights.com. Have a great day.